Well, let's get you that story in detail. What we are hearing as far as the global growth of India and its influence, how it is continuing, where the pressure is a lot that is mounting on Pakistan. Both the United States and Russia have now distanced themselves from Pakistan. Now, this is the Russian ambassador to India saying that Moscow has strangled its defense ties with Pakistan as it would impact the relations between India and Russia, while Pakistan has been isolated with the United States as well. In a reminder of what happened back in 2611, the US State Department spokesperson has been saying that the memories of the brutal attack by terrorists in Mumbai in 2008 are both still vivid for India and for the United States, demanding justice for the 2611 perpetrators. Now the US White House has been saying that it is not just an individual operators who took so many innocent lives that day, but it was terrorist groups who helped organize it as well, and they must pay the price as the people, the victims, are still awaiting justice.
The terrorist attacks that took place in 2009 in Mumbai. Of course, the memories of that are still vivid. They're still vivid here in India. They are still vivid in the United States as well. We can all remember the horrific imagery of that day, the assault on the hotel, the bloodshed that resulted. And it's why we've continued to insist on accountability for the perpetrators of this, not only the individual operatives who took so many innocent lives that day, but the terrorist groups that were behind this, that helped to orchestrate it as well.
Let me go across to Srinjoy now. Srinjoy, good morning. Now, looking at these developments that have been taking place, what really is the main motive and intention? Because we have seen both United States and Russia, they may not go hand in hand, but they are together when it comes to isolating Pakistan.
Yes, undoubtedly. What Denis Alipov said was very clear, that he said that whatever we do with Pakistan will not be at the expense of India. And that is a position that the Russians have had for a long time. Also, the Russians have a lot of regard for India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because replying to a question about India's role in bringing peace with Ukraine and bringing the war to an end, Denis Alipov said that it hasn't happened as yet. But if India expresses a desire to try and bring the war to an end, then Russia will look at it very, very carefully, which is a clear way of saying that India is respected by Russia, India's opinions are respected by Russia. And you know what Narendra Modi has told Vladimir Putin in front of the world, that the 21st century is not a time to end a war, to have a war.
But Srinjoy, how do we understand the move that has been made by Russia? Because Russia seems to be also monitoring the Pakistan situation. Because Pakistan, we know, has turned into a begging bowl and it is cash-strapped, but it is still apparently providing the arms supply to Ukraine. How is that happening?
Well, this is something that the Russians are looking at very carefully. And it has to be said that while all of Pakistan has no money, the Pakistan military is not short of funds. Whatever else happens, the Pakistan military will always be in flush and with enough weaponry. That is the position that the Russians are talking about. In the past, the Ukrainians have sold weapons to Pakistan as well. Most importantly, the T-80 tank. So the Ukrainians and the Pakistanis have a good military relationship. India has helped Ukraine in a humanitarian way, provided humanitarian aid. But with Pakistan, it is a military relationship.
And how do we understand? I mean, bankrupt Pakistan is exploiting the Ukraine war for profit amid domestic crisis as well. Maruf is also with us. Maruf, good morning. How do we see Pakistan's act? Is it believed to be done in close cooperation with the US? Because now even US seems to be snubbing Pakistan.
Well, the US has been snubbing Pakistan for sponsoring terror for a long time. You might recollect that Hillary Clinton made the famous remark that you can't have snakes in your backyard and not expect them to bite you. So the US is very familiar with Pakistan's sponsorship of terror. The problem with the US is that every time it has made efforts to try and nail Pakistan, it does nothing about the Pakistan army, which is the chief patron of terrorism in the region. And therefore, the army continues to get away with it. These guys like Hafiz Saeed and a whole lot of other characters, they are tools of the military. They are not independent actors. Therefore, when Pakistan's under pressure not to push terrorism, these guys also go silent. The second thing is that the US has tried to make efforts to put a lot of external pressure on Pakistan. For example, the FATF, the financial body which was trying to nail Pakistan for sponsoring terror, finally, when General Javed Bajwa made a visit, General Qamar Bajwa made a visit to the US last year, he did a deal with the US that we will give you Ayman al-Zawahiri and you get us out of the FATF strangle. So the FATF suddenly pulled out and Pakistan had the IMF talking to it again. But the IMF is not being able to give them money because Pakistan's military and military-related activities take up 70% of the country's budget. Nobody is taxed in the country. So where does the money come from? The Pakistan border's on the brink, and what it does, it bargains with terror and nuclear weapons with its friends and allies, whether it is the US or Gulf countries, which finally will bail it out. So I am not too optimistic about what the US can do because US establishment people have had a very deep relationship with Pakistan for the last 75 years. What needs to be done is three things. One is to stop the military from making any visit to important Western countries, and that includes Pakistan Army Chief onwards, and stall their visa arrangements to visit the US elsewhere, their families' education arrangements in the West, and their medical treatment of their family members in US and other countries in the West, where Pakistan's military continues to enjoy the privileges for sponsoring terror, and they use blackmail, and the US falls in line. So I'm not optimistic about the US at all. In fact, I am disheartened. As far as Russia is concerned, Russia's statement is welcome because it's been getting closer to India again, as you know, after the Ukraine conflict with all the trade. But the problem is Russia does not enjoy much leverage with Pakistan, whether with defense weapon, financial funding, etc. The country that enjoys leverage with Pakistan currently is China, and China will not put it in a corner.
And apparently it's the Ukraine betrayal as well, Maruf, that what is being said that military supplies have been done by cash-strapped Pakistan to Ukraine at a time when Moscow has been closely monitoring the situation. Maruf, thank you very much for joining in. Mr. Arisan Singh is also with us, sir. Good morning to you. What do Russia make of it as far as, Pakistan in a way begging bowl to some other countries, but also paying for arms supply to Ukraine?
Yes, I was listening to your conversation with Maruf. Bailing out, yes, bailing out will come, but bailing out will come with a very heavy price in terms of geopolitical readjustments. The IMF or the World Bank, it will ask for its pound of flesh. Nobody should forget that. And the second thing is that, yes, the Russians stance, do you want to do business with India? Do you want to do business with Pakistan? This is a binary, absolute binary. So therefore, I think they have always realized this, and more so now that it has been underscored under the geopolitical situation that India is the country which matters for Russia. And you cannot deny the fact that Pakistan, the Pakistani army, Pakistan as a country as such, the way they had veered towards, in the Chinese orbit, right? So these geopolitical games will be there. And it is a very, very fortunate, the economic condition is in Pakistan is very fortunate for those powers which do not want to see Pakistan gravitating towards the Chinese or coming into the Chinese orbit. And this is an opportunity for India also. Why should we miss this opportunity? Has Pakistan spared any opportunity?
Well, that's the point, sir, especially when it comes to Pakistan. Of course, it cannot be anybody's friend there. Even China is something that it would rather exploit the Pakistan situation for its own gains. I mean, we've seen that happening as far as how the ties between the United States and China has been further strained because of the balloon spy issue. Thank you very much, Mr. RSN Singh. Let me go back to Srinjoy for more on that. Because, Srinjoy, how are the global image and powers playing on this and for their advantage? I mean, United States and Russia, we know that do not go hand in hand, but especially when it comes to Pakistan, doesn't have money to provide enough food and basic amenities to its people, but will supply arms to Ukraine. Well, that has been the backdrop so far, because even if we talk about what the United States has to say, because it has once again put Pakistan on the limelight and has been saying that the Mumbai terror attack memories are still vivid, and justice still eludes those victims who had lost their lives because of Pakistan's hand in the Mumbai terror attacks.